I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like, everybody they tiptoe around with this social media. But what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequences.
The chaos between Iman and Aaron just reached terrifying new heights. What started as a tense and emotional standoff quickly exploded into a shocking and violent confrontation. It all unfolded right in front of Teyana, who had no idea the night would spiral out of control so quickly. As the two men clashed, emotions ran wild, and the screaming got so intense, it felt like the entire venue froze in disbelief. And in the most heartbreaking twist, Teyana collapsed from the stress, right there in the middle of everything. People were crying, security was panicking, and someone immediately called for emergency help. Sirens blared in the distance as bystanders tried to make sense of what was happening. This wasn't just another celebrity drama. It was pure chaos caught in real time. And as first responders rushed in, all eyes were on the motionless body of Teyana lying on the ground. Sources close to the situation say the tension between Iman and Aaron had been building for weeks. It wasn't just random drama. They had real resentment brewing beneath the surface. When they both showed up at the same private event where Teyana was present, things escalated fast. What should have been a calm night quickly turned into a confrontation after just a few exchanged words. Aaron reportedly told Iman to stay out of Teyana's life for good, clearly trying to draw a line. But Iman didn't take that well and snapped back, calling Aaron a temporary phase, which only added fuel to the fire. Both men stepped closer and closer until they were chest to chest, and security had to separate them to avoid violence. However, things took a dark turn when Teyana herself tried to intervene. Aaron pushed Iman's arm off her, and Iman reacted by shoving him hard, triggering a full-on fight. The shouting, the punches, and the sheer madness took over instantly. As the men fought, people around them screamed for help, but the fight only got louder and more chaotic. In the middle of it all, Teyana could be heard begging them to stop. Her voice cracked with emotion, but neither man listened. She was caught in the worst place possible, between two people who both refused to back down. Witnesses say she looked completely devastated, overwhelmed by the intensity of what was happening. Then, just as someone tried to pull her back to safety, she collapsed to the floor. Gasps filled the room as people feared she may have hit her head on the way down. Paramedics were called instantly, and within minutes, they arrived and began checking her vitals. She wasn't moving, and at first wasn't even responding to their voices. The room shifted from chaos to crisis, and everyone's attention turned to Teyana's condition. The fight was over, but the damage was already done, and it was serious. The paramedics wasted no time placing Teyana on a stretcher while everyone stood frozen. Her mom, according to insiders, was on the phone screaming, trying to get information on what had just happened. Teyana was still unresponsive when they lifted her out of the venue. Outside, fans and media were already gathering, some filming and others crying. Videos of the scene started flooding social media, painting a horrifying picture of the night's events. The moment Teyana's body was wheeled out with oxygen masks and medics surrounding her, it became clear that this wasn't just about jealousy or hurt pride. It was a serious emergency. The event that had started as a star-studded night had become a traumatic spectacle. People were devastated watching it all unfold, and no one could believe it had come to this. Everyone knew Teyana was under pressure, but no one imagined she'd collapse under the weight of it. Police arrived shortly after and immediately moved in to control the situation. Both Iman and Aaron were separated and restrained to prevent the situation from spiraling even further. Officers began shouting for space as they tried to get control over the crowd and gather statements. Iman was visibly angry, yelling that, "This is exactly what happens when you let clowns into your life." Aaron, on the other hand, was trying to defend himself, shouting that he never touched Teyana or hurt her. It was loud, heated, and confusing, with both men pointing fingers. at each other. Security guards from the venue handed over footage from the event to police so they could piece together what really happened. Teyana's assistants were also pulled aside for questioning, as authorities treated the scene like an active investigation. Although no one was arrested on the spot, both Iman and Aaron were given official warnings. The entire area was locked down for hours as law enforcement tried to sort through the mess. At the hospital, Teyana underwent full medical testing, including scans and stress evaluations. Doctors later confirmed that she had collapsed from a mix of severe anxiety, emotional overload, and physical exhaustion. It wasn't just a faint. It was a breakdown brought on by immense psychological stress. She was stabilized and kept under observation overnight, then released the following day. Her team issued a brief statement asking fans for prayers and privacy, confirming she needed time to heal. Insiders have reported that Teyana hasn't spoken to either man since the incident. She's currently surrounded by close family, especially her mother, who's making sure she has everything she needs to recover. Friends have said she's emotionally drained and might step away from public life for a while. This may have been the breaking point for her, a wake-up call that things can't continue like this. She's now reportedly considering therapy and a full lifestyle reset. Social media went into complete overdrive the moment the news of the incident broke, and it hasn't slowed down since. Within minutes, timelines were flooded with posts, reactions, and waves of support for Teyana. Hashtags like #OneMao Pray for Teyana and Hun Protect Black Women began trending across platforms, quickly dominating the conversation on both Twitter and Instagram. The outpouring of empathy was immediate and intense, as fans and public figures alike took to their accounts to call for peace, protection, and healing. One fan's post summed up the general mood. "She doesn't deserve any of this chaos. Let her live." The sentiment was echoed thousands of times, in retweets, comments, and reposted stories. As support surged, so did the anger. A large portion of people were furious that both Iman and Aaron had allowed things to escalate to this level. For many, this wasn't just about a private argument gone public. It was about what they saw as a pattern of emotional neglect, disrespect, and chaos that had been brewing for far too long. Fans started calling for accountability in real time. A petition began circulating online, urging Teyana to cut ties with both men permanently. The petition gained thousands of signatures within hours, serving as a digital rally cry from people who felt she had suffered enough and deserved to move forward without the emotional baggage. On TikTok, users began analyzing the incident with the precision of investigative journalists. Frame-by-frame breakdowns of the altercation surfaced, complete with timestamps, reaction videos, and even amateur commentary. Entire timelines were being built out by fans trying to understand how things unraveled. Some creators brought up old interviews and public appearances, revisiting moments where Teyana seemed uncomfortable, strained, or pressured. These clips were now being reinterpreted as signs that something had been off for a while, reinforcing the belief that this wasn't just one explosive moment. It was the breaking point of a long, toxic pattern. The deeper fans looked, the more unified their voices became. This wasn't just about drama anymore. It became a conversation about emotional labor, public pressure, and how Black women in particular are often expected to hold it all together even while they're falling apart behind the scenes. Support for Teyana grew into something much larger than celebrity fandom. It became a movement for change, a demand that she be given the space to breathe, to heal, and to prioritize herself without guilt or shame. With everything now out in the open, all eyes are on what comes next. The speculation is endless. Some believe there could be legal consequences depending on what the footage shows. If the videos capture anything aggressive or threatening, there's a real chance that legal action could be taken against either Iman or Aaron. Teyana might choose to file a restraining order, creating a firm legal boundary that ensures her peace and safety moving forward. Nothing is confirmed yet, but insiders suggest she's weighing her options carefully, not just emotionally, but also legally. There's also talk that she's considering stepping away from the entertainment industry, at least temporarily. She's reportedly telling those close to her that she needs time to recalibrate, to focus on her well-being and mental health. The pressure of being in the spotlight, especially when your personal life is falling apart in front of millions, is crushing. Fans have been supportive of this idea, encouraging her to take all the time she needs. Many have said that no project, performance, or appearance is more important than her healing. The ripple effects of this moment are extending beyond just the individuals involved. Therapists, influencers, and activists have started weighing in on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and even LinkedIn. They're breaking down the emotional damage caused by toxic relationships, discussing why people stay too long, and analyzing the long-term impact of emotional manipulation and public humiliation. This situation has sparked wider cultural conversations that reach beyond celebrity gossip. It's made people reflect on their own boundaries and relationships. There are professional stakes involved too. Aaron and Iman's futures in the public eye could be at risk depending on how this all plays out. Brand deals, endorsements, and future media appearances could be jeopardized. Companies are increasingly cautious about who they associate with, especially in an era when public image can shift with a single viral clip. If either man hopes to recover his reputation, it'll take more than just an apology. It will require accountability, time, and real behavioral change. For Teyana, her next move is pivotal. It will determine not just how this story continues, but how people view her strength, her boundaries, and her priorities. Fans are pleading with her to choose herself. They've seen her hold it together for too long, and many believe it's time for her to walk away from anything, or anyone, that no longer brings her peace. In their eyes, she's carried too much for too long, and now she finally has the chance to put herself first. Whatever she decides, it's clear she's not facing this alone. The internet, for all its chaos, has shown up for her in ways that are real and powerful. And while this chapter may be painful, it might also be the beginning of something new. Something grounded in peace, healing, and the kind of love that doesn't come with conditions. What happened that night wasn't just gossip. It was a serious wake-up call. Two grown men battling over one woman isn't love. It's emotional violence disguised as passion. And in the middle of it all, Teyana paid the highest price, nearly losing her health in the chaos. Paramedics and police had to intervene just to keep things from turning deadly. This moment has left scars that won't easily fade, especially for Teyana and those closest to her. It's a harsh reminder that even in the world of fame and cameras, real people get hurt. She deserves better, more respect, more care, and far more peace. As the world watches and speculates, the best thing fans and the media can do is give her space to heal. The drama might make headlines, but the emotional toll behind the scenes is very real. In the end, all anyone truly wants for Teyana is peace, not pain.